We're live.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Other Life Podcast. We are going with a solo podcast. We are going to take questions from the audience. If you have good ones, if you have bad ones, they will be ignored or rejected. And I guess in the event that there's no particularly good questions, I guess I'll just riff and go on my various monologues. But hopefully there'll be some good questions. I got Ben here, my starving intern, Ben, who's moved to Austin just to help me grow this YouTube channel. He's on the mic. He's going to be heard to you, but not visible to you. We have a new setup here, as you can see. This is my first time doing a solo show from the new Austin home studio. So that's the game plan. That's pretty much, I have no plans. I have no prepared speeches. I mean, I have some interesting things I can share, some updates as always, but this is going to be all about the audience. And by the way, all super chats, if you feel so generous, will go to Ben. All right, because I'm not really able to pay him what he's worth quite yet, but I'm committed to figuring it out, and I will get him paid. And the least I can do in the short term is if there are super chats, I'll put that directly into Ben's account. Do we have any good questions yet, Ben?
Let's see. What do we have? We have Gavin Baker saying hello. David.
Speaking to the mic, so.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So we have Gavin Baker. Hello. David the Gnome. Sup. Auto Agent. Yo.
All right. Those are not good questions, though.
Dale Earnhardt. Wetten Day Sup. Idiot Tech. Wetten Day Sup.
All right. We want good questions, though. So if the answer is no, that's fine.
All right. No.
Just say no.
Okay.
And then I will carry on. So Ben and I were working on. You got one? Okay, hang tight. Let me tell the audience what we were doing today. So basically, for those of you who don't know, let me make sure I give you this whole story. So Ben, my intern, is an undergraduate student. He's finishing his degree at the University of New Mexico. That's where I met him, in Albuquerque. He's gonna graduate in about 3 months. His graduation date is May 15th. All right, and he wasn't doing anything particularly fun in Albuquerque because of the pandemic. Everything was on lockdown. So I basically said to him, I said, Ben, look, I can't pay you what you're worth yet, but I'm committed to trying to figure it out because I want to get you working full time, just editing audio and video for me and helping me grow my operations. So I said, look, you're bored and not doing anything particularly satisfying or fun in Albuquerque. So why don't you just, since you're working remote now and you don't have to be in Albuquerque to complete your degree, why don't you just move to Austin? I'll help you get set up. I'll help you find a place. And that way we can start working together and you can live in a cooler city with cooler people than in Albuquerque. And your monthly obligations will pretty much stay the same. So your financial situation isn't really changing. And I'll let you finish your schoolwork. I won't work you too hard, but you can at least come to a cool city and we can start messing around and start getting into the groove so that when you graduate in May, hopefully by then we'll have built up enough of a system that we can confidently say, okay, I'll pay you X amount of money because here we have the data. It shows that you're growing the channel well enough that it's worth it for me to pay you. So that's the game plan. All right.
Yeah.
But we were looking at the channel today and folks, the statistics are not great on this channel, which is why I need you to subscribe and click the bell so you get notifications. Or else Ben is going to starve. Yeah, look, we have we almost have 10,000 subscribers, okay? Which is not great, frankly, for how many videos I've made over how many fucking years. I think we have like more than 500 videos. And look, I take some responsibility because I've never done any of this bullshit that YouTubers do where they like pressure people to like and subscribe and reply. And we've never really taken the titles very seriously. We've never taken the thumbnails seriously. I've never taken any of it too seriously, honestly. But now we need to do that because Ben is going to starve and go homeless if I don't grow this channel, basically. So that's what we're doing. Ben came out to Austin. It's no joke. We are going to get serious about growing this channel. And in fact, I'm going to share with you our goals. They're very ambitious. I don't know if they're possible, but mark my words. I told Ben that if he can help me grow the channel from 10,000 subscribers, which is what it's about right now, up to, if he can double that in 3 months. Okay, it's somewhat ambitious, I know, because it took me like a few years to get to 10,000. But if Ben can find a way to double the subscriber count between now and when he graduates in May, listen to this, folks. I kid you not. This is not clickbait. This is not a joke. I will give Ben $5,000 cold hard cash. I'm not kidding. I promised him. I really will, if he can get the subscriber count from 10,000 to 20,000 in the next 3 months, because that is proof that his contribution to the team is absolutely worth it. And from there, we can work from there. So basically, I need you to subscribe to this channel, and I need you to click the bell so you get notifications, and I need you to leave a reply, and I need you to like my shit, folks, or else I'm cool. Yeah, I'm fine, because I need it more than you. I'm doing lots of other things. Yeah,
this, please, whoever's listening.
YouTube right now for me is not a major money engine. I do it because it's fun and because it's a way for me to, say what I think and develop my ideas and produce content that I find interesting and worthwhile, and brings more people from the world into my little world. But it's not a money engine for me at all. So I don't really need it or care about it for money. But I do want to make it the way that Ben gets paid, because he's good at video editing, and I really want to be able to support another person on my team. And Ben has been a loyal supporter and voluntary worker for
slave.
Quite one could say slave. Yeah. Although, don't say that. The labor feds are going to come after us. They're going to put me in jail, and you're not going to get to work on YouTube videos anymore. Right. Can so just take it back.
Yeah, no. I take it back. It was not true.
So that's where we're at. That's the goal. We're going to try to double the subscriber count in 3 months. If Ben can do it, I'll give him $5,000. If he can't do it, he might die. He might starve. He might literally be a homeless person if you don't subscribe to the channel. So, all right. Do we have questions coming yet?
Let's see. Yeah.
Super chats. Like I said, super chats will go directly to Ben.
Yeah.
So
much appreciated.
Let's see. Still no good questions?
David the Gnome asks, have you ever thought about, instead of microdosing and engaging in Silicon Valley culture, maybe try weightlifting culture? Thought about this?
Make sure you're speaking into the mic enough.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. If you can pull it closer or scoot your chair in or whatever. But
pull that sucker up.
You might just want to pull your chair in, get closer to the mic. There you
go. Can you hear me?
So throw the question onto the screen and say it again.
Oh, okay. It's on the screen. David the Gnome asks, have you ever thought about, instead of microdosing and engaging in Silicon Valley culture, maybe try weightlifting culture?
My first answer to this would be, why can't you do all of these at the same time? You can do all of these at the same time. And I would say that I roughly do that. I mean, I haven't been lifting a lot of weights lately, but I lift weights. I mean, periodically. Like, there was a few years ago where I lifted a lot of weights. But since the pandemic has been on, and since we've been like nomading around since leaving England, I just haven't had many belongings. So I haven't had weights, and I haven't been active in a gym with the coronavirus. So yes, weightlifting is something I have neglected for many months. But my answer would be, I can microdose, LSD, and lift weights both. Yeah. And I think that would be the ideal lifestyle, is to do both of those a fairly good amount. I'm not giving life advice, folks. Only you know what's best for you. Anything else?
Let's see. Oh, someone. Let's see. Okay, Godward Podcast asks, Justin, how is Bitcoin liberationist if all the capitalist mega CEOs are buying way more than we can of it?
Wait, what? Say it again.
Justin, how is Bitcoin liberationist if all the capitalist mega CEOs are buying way more than we can of it?
Dude, a lot of mega capitalist wealthy people are not buying it yet, and you can. So that's one part of the answer. Like, if you're fucking Goldman Sachs or whatever, do you know how much work and time it takes to get the whole institution on board to make a purchase of Bitcoin? It literally takes them months from when they decide to do it. Or rather, let me put it this way. When a handful of executives decide that it's something that they think the institution should do, they then have to get a bunch of other people to buy into it. They need to have meetings. They need to do due diligence. They need to do all this stuff. It takes them ages. And that's why that's why a lot of them still haven't done it yet. But I can tell you, I mean, I don't want to say for a fact because I don't have any insider information, but I am highly, highly confident personally that right now, especially because Elon Musk recently bought Bitcoin with the Tesla balance sheet, there are, as we speak, executives in many large institutions. These are very, very wealthy people working for and with extremely wealthy and powerful institutions who right now are planning to buy Bitcoin, but they can't yet because it just takes time with their institutional processes. But you and I can literally just go on Coinbase or wherever and buy as much Bitcoin as we want. So that's one part of the answer to your question. It remains to this day, at this moment. I'm not giving financial advice because I have no idea what I'm talking about, but these are just my perspectives. So don't do anything stupid with your money. Don't take undue risk or whatever. Please, I honestly don't want to. I don't want anyone to like take my strong beliefs or theories, recklessly. But I am saying what I really do think, which is that it's still like a massively good opportunity right now because I don't know. No one has been able to explain this reasoning away to me. Like, if you do believe that there is going to be more institutional money going into Bitcoin, and that takes time for them to for them to basically organize those operations, then to me it's just like low-hanging fruit. To me, it's like hard to imagine the price of Bitcoin does not increase over the next several months as all of the bigwigs who are watching Elon Musk are now like doing this with their corporate cronies or whatever. But the smaller you are, actually, the more agile you are, and the more the faster you can move on this kind of thing. So that's one part of the answer. But the other part of the answer is, if you look at the people who got richest from crypto, it's people who are like way crazier than me and who are even more like outsider than me or you. It's like, people who were buying Bitcoin in like 2010 or whatever, doing all kinds of sketchy things, whether it's like drug dealing or gun dealing or whatever, just like true weirdos on the real margins of institutions. Those are the people who got richest, right? So not like hedge fund managers, not wealthy people. I mean, to this day, a lot of like super wealthy people like Peter Schiff or whatever, there's still a lot of skeptics. Warren Buffett also, I think. These are super wealthy and powerful people who are not going to be getting rich from Bitcoin because they're old money, because they're skeptical and boomers, basically. So I think those would be my two answers to that question. What else do we got? Maybe I kind of want to say don't say people's names or don't put it on the screen unless it's a super chat.
Oh, great.
People should have to pay for the real estate.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Someone here, dollars. Oh, sorry, not to say his name, but okay. Someone says I don't see the super chat option.
Oh,
$666.
Wah, wah. Maybe that's because my like AdSense is it's transitioning because I changed address and had to change all of that.
All right.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That sucks.
Sorry, Ben.
For me, yeah. I guess.
Sorry, Ben. I'll buy you.
He's gonna starve.
I'll buy you tacos for tonight.
Right. Oh, you're so gracious. Okay, so yeah, here's another one. I've noticed that many of my uni theoretical philosophical or philosophy professors don't know much about medieval philosophy. Why is that?
Yeah, medieval philosophy is, I would say, across the board, extremely neglected in academia for a kind of reasonable reason, which is that there are definitely super legit and interesting medieval thinkers, but the medieval period is known for just rather slow moving kind of philosophical advancement, right? So with the modern period, you just have this kind of extreme flowering of philosophies, whereas the great medieval thinkers, of which there are many, things moved much slower. I think that's part of it. And probably also a kind of anti-church bias. Like we today look back, we kind of look down on the great religious thinkers to some degree. And in the medieval period, most of the great thinkers in the medieval period were, whether it's in the Islamic world or in the Western world, were associated with some school of religious thought and practice. And I think we generally just are less into that today because we believe that modern rationality has kind of superseded religious thought. Of course, you can still find classes and people who will teach medieval philosophy, but it's just seen as second rate or like less interesting or less relevant to contemporary times.
We have someone asking a geographical question. What neighborhood in Austin? Do a meetup in Zilker when it gets warm.
What neighborhood in Austin?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to tell people on the internet where I live because I don't know. I'm for some reason I'm just like I like people not knowing that. So I won't say where I live, but I will say that I've been meeting up with people everywhere. So yeah, I've met up with a bunch of people from Twitter, and I'll just meet them like downtown or usually halfway between where I am and where they are. So what?
Oh, sorry. Someone just made a comment, I guess, regarding my homelessness situation, or soon to be situation. He is going to be a homeless person with a degree. Sounds like us, really. Says,
here, Ben, you sit here for a minute,
Yeah.
and I'm going to see if I can turn on super chats. I want to go into the settings.
Fuck.
It'll be fun.
I have to sit there. All right.
Yeah, you don't even need to talk if you don't want to.
Okay.
You just, but you can. You should go ahead. This will be fun.
Yeah.
You hate this? You don't have to.
No,
if you don't want
it's fine.
What do you think about Austin so far?
It's actually probably my favorite American city
That
so
you've
far.
ever been in?
Yeah, and what have I been here 10 days, and I can't get enough of it. It's
Really?
pretty amazing. Yeah.
So you're happy that you moved here?
I'm very happy. Yeah, I couldn't be happier, really. I mean, barring all the homeless, stuff, and maybe starving to death and all that. It's great. Yeah, I'm very happy. I feel privileged to be.
How is it living with Barrett?
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys are getting
really
along
cool.
well.
He's a really chill guy, really lovely person, and his cat is the cutest little critter.
Yeah.
There. So I'm having a blast. It's really,
Nice.
it's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks again for setting that up, sort of putting that in motion. It's been, this is very strange.
Yeah. How does it feel to be in the hot seat?
Awful. Yeah. I mean,
Really?
no, it's all right. I don't know. It's just there's like a big disconnect because I'm not very aware. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be. Well, I don't know. It's just very strange. I don't know what to think about it. Really.
I did kind of put you on the hot spot
Yeah.
in the hot seat without much advance warning.
No, I kind of like that. I like the kind of off the cuff, spur of the moment.
Well, I'm trying to see why my super chats are off, and I'm gonna find a way to.
You have really nice handwriting. It's actually.
Oh, you're looking at my notes?
Yeah, it's very nice.
What does it say about my personality?
Oh, I don't know. You want me to divulge that in public? Is that a?
Yeah. Interpret my personality from.
Well, it's visible. I mean, obviously, you're very open. Like it's legible to a person who has trouble usually reading like handwriting, even just non-cursive. Like I can't even read cursive, but yours is very it's nice print. Yeah, I'd say you have very like thick, pronounced lines. You're a very forward person.
Really?
Forward and open. Yeah, you probably. What do you like?
Nice.
You're probably you're pretty disagreeable.
Oh, you got that from my handwriting? Wow.
Yeah. You've done your big five?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Have you?
I don't know. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it's pretty standard for all like psych majors to take that at some point. But I don't know. Yeah, you're just it seems like you're just a free-spirited kind of asshole from your handwriting. No.
All right. Guess what, Ben? I figured it out.
Great. Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
I turned on. Whoa! Now they have super stickers. I don't even know what that is, but okay. Weird flex, but okay. All right. No wonder we haven't been making
in lieu of money.
Dude, no wonder we haven't been making any super chats because they've been off. It's been disabled. Man. You know why? It's because I had to change my AdSense, my Google AdSense nonsense. But we got it now. We got it. All right. So anyway. All right. Doing it. Well, we still managed to keep all of our subscribers. There you go.
Great. Yeah, was that interesting enough?
All right. Super chats are now turned on, folks. Sorry about these growing pains in the new studio in Austin, but thanks for hanging out with us as always. So I think now you have super chats. If you want Ben to be able to eat tacos tonight, I will answer any question you have if you throw up a super chat. And as long as there is no truly unwholesome language, we will display it on the screen too. People, tell me if you do have the super chat option. If you don't, that's okay. But I did turn it on. So I guess there's some possibility that it like doesn't update between chats or whatever, but whatever. All right. Any other questions? What else we got?
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay.
Give me a good one.
A good one. I guess it's pretty topical. Have you seen that feeling with No Girlfriend doc? It has CompBot in it.
Yeah, of course I've seen it. I've talked about it on here a couple times. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it like before it was released.
Yeah, we both did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. In LA, right?
In the director's home.
That's right.
That was pretty cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Thoughts on Ficta? That's kind of, I don't know. You want to elaborate on that? On Ficta, how do you say his name?
I do not know that much about. I've heard most people say Fichte.
Fichte. Oh, nice.
But I have not read much Fichte. I'm not very strong on German idealism. Yeah.
Isn't he the originator of the like synthesis, kind of the dialectic?
No,
he's not.
Unless he's I already said I don't know, so I shouldn't speak.
Sorry, all right.
But no, you're thinking of Hegel.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was
Oh, is that right? You could know something that I don't. I try not to speak out of school. People like to talk shit about me, but one thing I think I'm pretty good at is if I don't know something, I just say I don't know.
That's good. Intellectual humility. Are you going to talk with Moldbug again?
Am I going to talk with Moldbug again?
For a stream.
Eventually, probably. Yeah. The thing is that I just want to expand my audience, and I don't want to be pigeonholed as like neo-reactionary. I don't really care what people call me. It's not that kind of thing. It's more just like I'm not like the actual truth of my interests are such that I'm not like obsessed with Curtis Yarvin types, but I'm cool with Curtis. Like I would definitely have him on again, but I just don't want that to over define the brand. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I guess you can. Yeah, you should. I guess you should throw people's questions on the screen.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But if you give a super chat, we'll definitely put it on the screen unless you use extremely unwholesome language, in which case no amount of super chat will get us to sell our souls.
Okay, here's a good one.
All right, what do we got?
Barbarian Report asks, do you think China will take over the world via technocratic symbiosis with Silicon Valley using new tech AI to become the main superpower?
Ooh. I think if I had to put money on it, I'm sad to say this because I love America and I do think America is the best country by far. But I am sad to say that if I had to put money on what will happen, it does seem to me that China is very likely going to take over as the global hegemon in the not too distant future, just because, well, pretty much two reasons. One is that their centralized political control allows them to move much faster and in a more focused way and with a much longer time horizon. Like the Chinese Communist Party plans hundreds of years in advance, or at least decades in advance. And that's just something the U.S. government is literally incapable of doing, more or less. I mean, the U.S. government's incapable of doing much, but that's part of it. And then the other part of it is just culturally, America is so hampered by political correctness and democracy more generally. Everything is a debate. Everything is a discussion. Everyone has all of these like crazy mental fixations that really get in the way of true national cohesion and action. And then when you combine these things with the fact that the Chinese people just have higher IQ and like they're smarter people, and you combine all of those things, and pretty much it's hard to see a future in which China does not become the global hegemon. However, the risk here, or the one thing I would add, is I do think that authoritarian governments are more brittle. So the open question that's not clear is whether or not China is able to sustain its economic growth while remaining an authoritarian country. History suggests no. I mean, history suggests that as a country becomes more wealthy, it becomes more democratic. And as a country becomes more democratic, it becomes more wealthy. And we just don't have many case studies in history of a deeply authoritarian country actually sustaining economic growth and becoming a rich country. It's very hard. So I think there's some possibility that either China becomes wealthier, China democratizes, and then it just becomes kind of the sclerotic, crappy government akin to what we have in the West. But another possibility would be that they choose to prioritize authoritarianism over economic growth, in which case it's possible that they would not have the kind of power trajectory that it looks like they have now. I see there's some super chats, so.
Want me to throw that up?
Yeah, totally. Unless they say extremely bad language.
I think I'm not. Okay, let's see. Predictions for the next big crackdown, civil liberties. Sorry, I cannot speak. How can we make a profit by undermining new regulations?
Say it.
$666.
Right,
Sorry, one more time. Here we go.
Go slower.
Nail this. Okay, I'm gonna go really slow. Predictions for the next big crackdown on civil liberties. How can we make a profit by undermining new regulations?
Those are two questions. Let's start with the first one. Predictions for the next big crackdown on civil liberties. I will say that what I would brace for is, I think when it comes to employment, I think we're seeing a major change in employment law, because even like 10 years ago, everyone at least pretended to practice a kind of colorblind, anti-racist employment practice, such that it was widely agreed for a long time that you could not hire or fire someone based on their skin color. And now it does seem to me that increasingly you can hire or fire if you're doing it as a anti-racist gesture. In other words, I think the gloves are kind of coming off now in the world of hiring and firing, in the world of employment and labor law, where it looks to me like you can now say, basically, if you're a company, you can say, we have a position open and we're only hiring people of color, or we're only hiring this type of person. So it used to be the case that no one would really say that explicitly, because for the most part, most civilized people agreed that discrimination should just not be, allowed at all. But now it does seem like there is going to be an increasingly popular, explicit practice of race-based hiring, and social justice people seem to think that's a good thing. I find it terrifying and probably a really, really bad disaster in the long run. I'll leave it at that. I'm kind of worried about that becoming more institutionalized, but ultimately it'll probably go to the courts, and hopefully the courts will say, hey, people, that's crazy. You can't do that. But we'll see. And the second part of that?
How can we make a profit by undermining new regulations?
How can you make a profit by undermining regulations? Bitcoin. Yeah. Or, just generally crypto. I think that's the best way to short the regulatory state, is to buy crypto. I think. Not financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, what else?
Even Dogecoin?
I've never bought any Dogecoin.
That's all I bought.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you?
Robinhood. Yeah, I don't know. My friend just told me to do it, and I did it. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, cool.
For the moon.
What else we got? This is great, Ben. We're getting super chats. This means you get to eat tacos tonight.
I know. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
All super chats go to Ben. Okay.
Thank you, Lord. Zik A Foos 2020. Zika. Where's System Kai? He lives in Tejas Zion. Tejas. I don't know what this means. It's just gibberish to me. But
no. Okay. Just say things clearly and word for word, and then
where is System?
System Kai.
Oh, is that?
He was a former podcast guest.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He lives in where?
He lives in Tejas Zion.
All right. I don't know. I haven't talked with him. He was a nice, smart young guy, interested in some weird stuff. But I haven't talked to them, so I don't have a good answer to that, but thank you for asking. Thanks for the super chat. Thank you for donating to Ben's
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Taco Fund.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's another one. Eve Everett. I was waiting for Base Bataille, which never came to be, though one of your patron tiers promises a mention in your next book project. What's
Absolutely.
the next book?
You got it, EV. Yeah, I feel very strongly that I will eventually do Base to Bataille. It's a book I would really like to write, and I do want to do a series of the Base to books because it was fun to write Base to Luz, and it didn't take me that long, and people seem to really like it. So I'm still quite interested in possibly writing Base to Luz. Or I'm sorry, Base Bataille, but it's just not a priority at this point. We'll see, but I will be happy to give you a shout out in my next book if you've been a patron for a long time. So I will make good on that. Do not worry. Honestly, the truth is, what I'm actually thinking about more and more is I want to write something a little bit more practical. I just think it'd be fun to try. I can always write books about philosophy and science or whatever, but I'm interested just to see if I could really help people with something. And what I'm actually thinking about, I'll just give you my interior monologue. What I'm thinking about at the moment is, I've been writing a lot about marriage, and people seem to really be interested in that. I kind of want to write a book about marriage and dating, but specifically for young men who want to navigate the landmines of contemporary feminism, because I just think that's a really hard thing. If you're a young guy and you're smart and based and like you're just a good, honest, intelligent young man, and you want to date and you want to get married, but you have to navigate this horrible minefield of like feminism and all these like different weird ideas that women have nowadays, especially young women. I think I have a lot of advice for that, because my wife, who I love very much, and who, I'm very proud and grateful to say I have a very happy marriage, and we've been married for 7 years. She was a hardcore feminist when we first met, and I had to kind of navigate the minefield of social justice feminism to like get my wife. And I have a lot of insights on that and tips and tricks, I think, for how young men should try to date and get a wife in contemporary social justice culture while not cucking themselves, basically, while kind of keeping their head held high, keeping their chin up, and staying a man, but also successfully navigating this world where like every woman you date wants you to be like a feminist beta cuck. Mm-hmm. Like there's a way of navigating that, which I think I figured out when I was dating my wife, and I want to write that book. Like how to do that.
I need to read this book.
Yeah, that's all right. So but I don't know. I get so many ideas all the time. I never know what exactly I want to do. At the moment, I won't be writing a book anytime too soon, because I'm building Indie Thinkers, and it takes a lot of time. IndieThinkers.org is my main project, and it's really growing. I'm really happy with it, and I'm really pleased. But it's like a serious business, and I need to work on that a little bit longer, and then I need to pass it off to someone who can run it, like a business person. And then I'll go back to writing my books as the main gig. So that's the long answer. The short answer is, if you stay a patron, I'll definitely give you a shout out in the book. I promise I'll make good on that. Don't worry about that. But I do not know what the next book will be. This is what I'm currently thinking about. That or a data science book, because that is kind of my real professional expertise. And I kind of want to do, like I said, I want to write something like super practical that can really help people. And I think I've talked about this on the channel. I think actually my data science skills are some of the most concrete things I can give to people in my audience who could actually significantly help their lives. So that's just where my mind's at. We'll see though. What else we got?
Okay, we have another super chat from Spiced. Thank you, Spiced.
What's up, Spiced? OG of the channel.
Ever think about moving to East Texas?
I have only ever been to Texas one time, so I don't really know the difference. I mean, I drove through West Texas. I don't know what East Texas is like. I hardly know what Austin is like. So the short answer, I'm afraid, is not very insightful. The answer is no. I have not thought about moving anywhere other than Austin, because so far so good. I like it. And no, I'm afraid not. West Texas is interesting though. It's like very boring and plain, but it's like the cheapest energy in the world because they have good wind and they have good solar. So for like Bitcoin mining or whatever, I'm not going to get into Bitcoin mining, but there are people doing interesting stuff in Texas in part because of these energy reasons. I think this is one of the reasons why Musk has Tesla factories here, and it's why there's like a lot of crypto startups, is because energy is really cheap. So building some kind of crazy like energy compound or something like is kind of interesting to me. And I'm not going to do that, but that's just interesting to me. What else we got?
Yeah, we have another one from Evie Everett, $5. Thank you very much. I'm already married, but I may want another wife. What kind of psych research went into your matchmaking system for your arranged marriages project?
If you're already married, you cannot have another wife. Case closed. The whole point of being married is you will never have anyone else again. And that sounds like a scary thing. It sounds like a constraining thing, but it's really a liberating thing. It's a beautiful thing. So my answer to you is you have to be a man, and you have to accept and own and embrace the decisions you've made in your life. And you need to come to terms with the fact that if you have a wife, that's the only woman you will ever know again in that way. And that's a beautiful thing, and you should enjoy that and cherish it. So I have no advice for you on anything else. If you need advice on how to love your wife and how to, age with your wife, that is something I have been learning or been, I can hardly claim to be a master of that. I'm only 34, but actually being married and actually learning what it means to be married and to really kind of confront the fact like, wow, this woman I married, she's the only woman I'm ever going to be with again. That can be a heavy thing to accept. It really is. That's an existential challenge there. And it can fuck with your head for sure. And it does take a certain kind of philosophical, I think, sophistication or just basic kind of existential seriousness and honesty to think that through and to integrate that into your life in a way that's healthy and honest and real. It can be a bit of a crazy thing to process mentally. So it's challenging, but this is the type of stuff I'd like to put in my book on marriage. So we'll see when I get around to that, but that is something I'm happy to accept questions on. But questions about how to get a second wife, I'm afraid I have to decline on that. But thank you for the super chat. Thank you for contributing to my unpaid interns taco fund.
He is asking about he said, I am a man, lol, I'm getting divorced, unfortunately. So answer the question about your project.
Sorry, Ben, you need to go speak slower and enunciate a little bit.
Okay. Evie says, it was a joke. Sorry. I am a man, lol. I'm getting divorced, unfortunately. So answer the question about your project. About the psychology behind the psychology research that went into your arranged marriage project.
Oh, okay. First of all, sorry for misunderstanding the question. If you're getting divorced, I understand that's a different situation, and I'm afraid I can't speak to that too much, but I wish you the best on that. And right, so the other question is, what psychology research went into the arranged marriage idea? Well, I can tell you the honest version, and then I'll tell you the more sophisticated version. So the honest version is, I had the idea for arranged marriage agency that would allow alienated, liberal, secular Westerners who are constantly postponing marriage to finally get married. And then I thought, I wonder if there's psychology research that suggests this or supports this. So I just called up Jeffrey Miller, and I called up Razib Khan, and I called up Diana Fleischman, and I just asked them. I said, if you could only ask a few questions of someone, and then based on those questions, you had to predict whether or not they'd be good marriage partners, what would they be? And they all said the same thing, more or less. And I took that as a pretty strong, agreement or convergence that this is probably the case. Now, as we actually build out this marriage agency, which we're doing right now, I will do more research for sure. We will refine the model, no doubt. We will develop and further study and further test and further reflect on the statistical matching algorithm. But just to kick things off, I did just basically go with what my 3 psychology expert friends said. Since they all agreed, I took that as a strong signal that they were probably right. And basically what they said was just big 5 personality, age, income, and religiosity was basically what they said. And more or less on most of those factors, you want similarity, like at least rough similarity. But for the man, you want the man to be a little bit more disagreeable than the woman, and you want the man to have a bit more money. I think I might have added that after. I forget, but those were the variables that both Razib and Jeffrey and Diana, all three of them, said to me. So I took that as starting points, and then I went and I did do research. We did read a lot of papers, but I did a kind of personal, kind of step back and had to use my judgment about what seemed the best to focus on. I didn't do like a very deep meta-analysis or anything like that. I didn't do like an extremely systematic study, but I did read a bunch of papers. And what I came to basically as the initial model is more or less matching on those key variables that I said, personality traits, with just a couple of differentiating factors across men and women. And then here's something I found in the research that I did not know or did not expect early on, is that one of the best predictors of marriage success is it's not about the dyad. It's not about the two people. It's about individual level variables of the individual people. In other words, happy people are just more likely to be happy with their marriage. Mm-hmm. It's kind of obvious when you think about it, but it's not so obvious necessarily, because you might think you might think it's all about, some magic formula about what unites the people. But actually, if you want to arrange happy marriages, there's a case to be made that you should just select for the happiest people. So I think we're going to do a little bit of that in our first matches. We are going to lean towards individuals who themselves are relatively happy people. So yeah, I haven't worked it out fully. I will eventually publish some kind of formal statement of what the arranged marriage, like, statistical matching algorithm is. So I'm just giving you off the cuff, like, what I remember. I had my head in this in the past few weeks because I've been focused on other things. The arranged marriage agency is ultimately, at the moment, it's a side project. We'll see if it, becomes a bigger project. But I'm just riffing off the cuff from what I can remember. So some of that might have been slightly off, but that's a basic answer.
Okay. We have another one from Spiced.
All right.
$2. Any plans to have DC Miller back on?
I have not talked with DC Miller any time in the recent past. I know that Nina Power is still in touch with him, and I think they're still friends. But I talk with Nina a lot, but I haven't talked with DC in a long time. I don't know, so I don't really know. I just like Curtis, I would be happy to have him back on the podcast, but I'm not trying to make the Other Life brand all about these kind of like shadowy reactionary edgelords. I enjoy talking with shadowy reactionary edgelords sometimes, for sure, but that's not like my main focus. So I don't want to have, them on too much, basically. But yeah, sure, I'd have him on again. Why not? He's an interesting dude.
All right, another one from Evie Everett, $5. Thank you again, and thank you, Spiced, for the $2. Okay, I'm a PsyD, a clinical psychologist. So is it possible to break down further your marriage app beyond the general big five stuff?
Oh, yeah, sure. So it's very simple. It's really not that sophisticated at the moment. We're starting very simple. What we're doing is just basic statistical filtering or matching in the first stage. And then what that does is it basically puts people into buckets, or it assigns to each person a subset of possible matches. And then my partner, Katya, will do the interviewing of people in that. I have two partners, Katya and Raven, are both going to be helping out with this. And so that's really all there is to it. There's a kind of algorithmic quantitative component, but that's really just filtering. And then the actual matchmaking is going to be based on qualitative, extended in-person meetings and interviews, and using personal judgment, basically. And this, I think, actually maps onto the history of arranged marriages more effectively, right? Because when you look at the history of arranged marriages. It is mostly women in communities, sometimes known as yentas, who basically connect people with friends of friends. And, historically, arranged marriages are arranged by women who have active roles in relationships with the people that they're matching in one way or another. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, it's big five, income and religiosity are the big ones. And we will experiment with like what types of statistical algorithms make the most sense. But in the first cut, those will be the big ones that I look at. That'll put people into subsets, and then Katya and Raven will use their judgment to make suggested matches. But then we're going to learn from that what works. And as we get feedback from the qualitative judgments and the suggested matches, like maybe in the first round, all of the qualitative judgments turn out to be false and none of the marriages work. Then we might go back, we're going to take that insight and take that kind of subjective input and use that to update the statistical matching algorithm. So that's the way I'm currently thinking about it. I was actually recently approached by an investor who wanted to do an app instead. And
so it's not an app.
No, at the moment it's like a high touch boutique agency, basically. Ooh. So it's like it's going to be a super expensive personalized process in the first instance.
Oh shit.
But I was approached by an investor who loves the idea, because a lot of people love the idea. I mean, this of all the things I've kind of floated in the past like 6 months, stuff I've written about, the arranged marriage concept is probably the thing that got the most traction in terms of like powerful people contacting me and like wanting to help it in some way or another.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So this one guy wanted to do an app. He was a nice guy. I met with him. It's kind of an interesting idea. Yeah. He has a theory. He has a kind of game plan or a playbook for how the arranged marriage agency could be done through like a scalable app that could maybe do like thousands and potentially later millions of people.
Is this person here in town?
No.
Okay, because I just met someone whose brother is working on an arranged marriage app who lives here.
Really?
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get him on here to talk to him.
All right.
Because he's probably stealing my ideas. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. At the moment, that's just a side project. I'm like really maxed out on time. I'm doing way too much, so I'll get to it though for sure.
All right. Okay. No other super.
All right, everyone out there, we've got a good number of people in the house. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow the channel seriously now. Our goal is to get from 10,000 subscribers to 20,000 subscribers in the next 3 months. That is the goal.
It's gonna happen.
I'm not sure exactly how, but if Ben does it,
no, I'm gonna do it.
If this happens, I swear I'm not kidding. I'm gonna give Ben $5,000.
Yes,
and we'll make a video of it. And so please do subscribe.
That'd
if it doesn't get to 20,000 in the next 3 months, then
I'll be dead.
Probably. You could die. Yeah,
I mean that's
die,
all right.
Maybe. Well, I mean, you'll be homeless. You'll be homeless and starving for at least a few months before you actually die.
Yeah, that's gonna.
I would
suck.
think. Yeah,
that part is gonna suck the worst. But yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's see what else we have.
What else? Pretty good question so far.
Yeah, these are great. These are excellent. Let's see from Zig's name I can't pronounce. How do you see blockchain technology in the future? Can we say that we will go from big data to blockchain?
I wouldn't think in those terms. I don't think that makes a ton of sense, that way to put it. I definitely think blockchain is going to be huge. I think there's going to be probably a handful of major blockchains that do different types of things, but I think it's going to become an increasingly omnipresent feature of life and society as we know it. I definitely feel high conviction about that personally, which is why most of my net worth is now in crypto. But I would not say that we will go from big data to blockchain. I just wouldn't put it in those terms. That's not quite right. I mean, big data is going to go onto the blockchain in some sense. I mean, the blockchain is big data. It's blockchain, the blockchain is literally a big thing of data. And so as blockchain becomes more ubiquitous, big data will become more ubiquitous, and they're generally complementary trends, I would say. So I wouldn't put it in that language necessarily. What other kind of questions we got?
We have a hater here.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Let's tackle it.
Will Green. Well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just like.
Let's hear the haters.
Curious. Okay, Will Green. The reviews are not good on your book. What do you have to say for the
reviews on
them?
The reviews on my book are indeed good.
The reviews are very bad.
No, the average is pretty high. There are a couple bad reviews, and it's clearly haters who are extremely envious of my intellectual prowess and extremely, extremely envious of my good looks and general clout. I mean, it's pretty clear. If you read the reviews on Amazon, if you read the 1-star reviews or the bad reviews, it's pretty clear they're stupid people who are dripping with resentment. But there are many good reviews. And I think the average review on Base Delos on Amazon, I think the average is like 4.5 or something. Look it up, Ben. I think it's 4.5. So
let's see.
That's propaganda. The reviews are generally good, generally quite good.
Pull this up.
Ben, we must not put on the screen people who are spreading lies about me.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. That's
it's okay.
Pretty messed up. Let me take it off. Where is?
Yeah, you got to do some tab management, bro.
Tab management, man. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do a nice one. Let's see. Cute Numina. Are you going to be investing a lot more in Chat for God? What are your plans for it?
It's a great question. So Chat for God is this other podcast, a little side project I started a while back with my friend Ashley, who you might know from Girls Chat. Then she didn't want to do it anymore. Fair enough. And then I met this other really cool chick named Maren Nelson, who is really badass. She's like very low key, like she doesn't brag. She's a very humble person. But this girl, Maren, we've now done like 5 episodes of Chat for God. She's super badass. Like she's basically the first woman of her age to be funded by Sequoia Capital, which is one of the most, influential and respected venture capital firms out there. She had a startup called Clara Labs, which I think is still running. I think she had an exit, but I believe it's still running. So Maren Nelson, this girl I actually met her first because she took the Bataille course. So she's like the super successful founder, basically. And then I meet her because she takes the Bataille course, which was cool. That's how we first got on each other's radar. And then when I said that I wanted to resume Chat for God, but I needed a co-host because Ashley didn't want to do it anymore. Lo and behold, Maren DM'd me and she was like, this concept sounds like exactly what I would love to do. And she's not really like a podcaster type of person. She's a very humble, modest person. So she's not really like a kind of clout chasing, extroverted internet type. But she's like a Christian, or, like many educated cosmopolitan people, she has nuanced views about that and finds it kind of hard to describe exactly how she would articulate her religious position, but came from a Christian family and has very strong kind of Christian longings and interests. And so it just seemed like a good fit. So anyway, that's the background, but she's a real badass. She's super cool, super smart, super sweet, very successful. And so far, it's been really fun. I've enjoyed doing it with her. She seems like she enjoys doing it, and she's recently kind of confirmed that she wants to keep doing it. The thing that I'm thinking about at the moment, though, I'll just give you this is kind of insider baseball on what I'm thinking about Chat for God is so Maren has like 1 million followers on Clubhouse. Like literally, she has 1 million followers on the Clubhouse app. And we did a Clubhouse chat the other night and we just called it Chat for God. And it was bonkers. Like there were 1,500 people listening like the whole time. And it just felt kind of like it was, holy shit, we should just do Clubhouse chats instead of a podcast. It's kind of like what my instinct was. She and I are going to talk about like the strategy, what we want to do for Chat for God. But the short answer is we both like it. We both want to keep it going. I think it's a really cool mission. It's a really cool concept, and it has a loyal fan base. It's not huge. The problem is that growing a podcast is so much work. It takes a lot of time and energy and just time. And I do want to put most of my heart and soul into growing the Other Life podcast. But so yeah, we're kind of toying with the idea that maybe we'll make it a recurring Clubhouse room or chat because she has so many followers on Clubhouse. But for the time being, the podcast carries on, Chat for God carries on, and we're kind of still discussing or strategizing what the future holds for the Chat for God podcast. That's how I would summarize it. What are you laughing at?
Oh, no, it's people want to see me get my ass beat by you.
What are people saying?
They're saying that you need to discipline me, that beat me on stream.
Whoa,
right now.
why do they want me to discipline you?
I don't know. I guess I'm just.
What are you fucking up?
I don't know. Probably everything.
No, you're fine. Did you double check what my current reviews are for Base Deleuze?
On what? I did on Amazon and on Goodreads.
Yeah, on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon, you look pretty good. Let me.
So what's the average?
Back up.
Didn't you just do this?
Yeah, I did. But people weren't happy with that, I guess. Average.
Yeah. Look at that.
4 stars.
Okay, 4. That's not great because the haters.
Well, then on Goodreads, you're like 2.3 or something.
Yeah, well, let's not pay attention to Goodreads.
Cool.
I mean, who is Goodreads? Goodreads is like social justice warriors.
Yeah, true.
Like, do you think I care about the opinions of like the average like social justice soccer mom on Goodreads? Come on.
All right, let's go to new. Oh wow, there's 2 super chats.
All right, well, you can't overlook the super chats because then people will never give the super chats. Man, Evie, this guy Evie has a ton of questions.
Yeah, he's great.
All right, what do we got?
Yeah. Let's see. So Base Deleuze was great. We enjoy what you do. I've been watching since the beginning.
Leave a review, please.
Yeah. Great.
Oh, wait, that's all it was?
That's it.
It wasn't a question or comment?
No, I mean, it was a comment. Yeah,
oh, Evie, good man. Yeah, good man. I appreciate that. Yeah, folks, actually, while we're on this topic, I'm glad this came up. Because there are people out there who genuinely just really hate me. They probably never even read Base Deleuze, but they left like a 1-star review. So if you read Base Deleuze, please do me a favor. Just go and leave a review. Leave an honest review. But I would really appreciate that. Because 4 stars out of 5, it ain't bad. But I could use a few more reviews on Base Deleuze. So if you read it, I would appreciate an extra review while we're at it. What else we got?
All right. Here's a really interesting one. $5 from Jared Morningstar. Thank you, Jared.
Oh, what's up, Jared Morningstar? Shout out to Jared. I know Jared. Jared is a member of Indie Thinkers. What's up?
Oh, awesome.
What do we got?
So he asks, what do you think about Christianity or Catholicism, if it would be helpful to be more specific, is getting most wrong in its engagement with modernity?
What do I think Christianity is
getting most wrong in its engagement with modernity?
Is getting most wrong with its engagement with modernity? Probably just liberalizing too much. Did you know that there's a faction of people in the Catholic Church who consider Pope Francis to be illegitimate, and they have like a breakaway sect? I forget what it's called. Remember, I think Jacob was telling us this the other night. But yeah, I think probably that's the main.
Yeah, that's like what Mel Gibson's dad is affiliated with.
No clue. I don't know.
It's pretty based.
I would say that's the main thing, is Christianity is liberalizing too much. But specifically, Christians today want to be didactic and rational, and they want to like justify and explain things to modern people. And I think that's a losing battle.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That would be my main beef. Like, my second main beef would be like Christians today are just corny. There are too many corny Christians. And I say this with love to my Christian brothers and sisters. I'm not like throwing shade. And this is from a spirit of constructive criticism. Like, if you are a Christian and you live in a modern world, in our modern culture, like, you can't just be a normal Christian and talk about how like Jesus saved you and Jesus like speaks to you and stuff. You just can't say that exactly in that way to modern people because it just sounds dumb. And I'm not saying you should sell out or you should water down your beliefs or that you should candy coat things. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you have to try to embody Christianity and like live Christianity in a way that is cool. Because if you're doing it right, then it should be cool. Because it is true and the truth is cool. So that's like how I think about it. That might sound dumb to real Christians out there or like good Christians, because I'm not a good Christian. I'm just like, I'm a Christian, but I'm not a good Christian. My whole theory is that I believe Christianity is true. And I believe that if you are living according to the truth, then you should be living much better in many ways than normal people who are living according to something other than the truth. And that should just be so obvious through your spirit and through like the effects you have on people that you should be the epitome of cool. Like, if you're really living according to the truth and Christianity is cool, then you should be cool. And most Christians are not cool. They're kind of the opposite of cool. So it's sort of like a contradictory response, right? Because on the one hand, I'm saying Christianity in the modern world is liberalizing too much. And then I'm also saying that Christians in the modern world are like not updating enough to fit into the contemporary culture. But it only sounds contradictory. It's not, it's kind of like a bimodal problem, I think. So some Christians just kind of capitulate too much to modern stuff. And that's a problem for sure. And then you have a different group of people who, the real Christians who are like, they dig their heels in and they're like, I'm going all in on my Christian identity. They're doing an equally bad problem, which is a separate problem, which is this problem of they're just hopelessly cringe. And they don't seem to really mind that they come off as cringe to other people. Whereas I'm like, if you're cringe, it means you're doing it wrong. That's my take.
Nice. Well, no more super chats, but there are plenty of questions.
All right. You can pick your favorites.
Okay. Let's see. So where were we starting from? Okay. These are all just comments. Looks like. Okay.
All right, Ben, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I would actually like to know your thoughts on Eastern Orthodox Christianity, because it sounds like a lot of what you say is kind of applies to that, like as far as like authentic, like being cool.
You can remove that question from the screen.
Great.
I have not much to say about Eastern Orthodox simply for lack of education.
Oh, cool. All right.
I went
You gotta
to
come to liturgy.
I went to an Orthodox liturgy once with Jacob. He brought me
that's right.
in
Nice.
in New Mexico. It was beautiful,
Yeah.
great people. It was very nice. But I just don't know enough about the history, and I don't know enough about the tradition.
Sure.
Also, honestly, to be perfectly honest, one of the things I like about religion and my own background in Roman Catholicism is I just like the dogmatic aspect.
Yeah.
Where like once you say you believe, you just don't even consider out like, because it shouldn't. It's hard to explain because I am a very rational person and I'm constantly looking for the truth and I'm constantly comparing things and trying to find the real truth. But on the other hand, I think part of the appeal of religion, precisely because it's based on faith, is that once you commit your faith, you kind of don't want to be rationally entertaining competitor religions. Simply because, you know, I'm all for searching and I'm all for an open mind and I'm all for looking into everything, you know, for sure. But I kind of feel like part of the whole magic and benefit and value of religious faith is like, you just fucking decide.
Yes.
And then you get on with life.
Yep.
And it's like, is there another system that's better or more true? Like, I don't know. Maybe you are, if you want to live an intellectual life, you are obligated to always be searching for the truth, and you do have to go where the truth is. So I'm not sure about what I'm saying, but that is my instinct. Is kind of like, you know, I don't really want to spend that much time studying every other religion trying to see if it's true.
Would you say then it essentially boils down to like aesthetic taste or preference in a way, or maybe that's
see, I kind of think that's a punt too. I want to say something like, I don't like that. That feels like a cop out. I want to say something like, once you decide on a faith and you invest yourself in a faith, it becomes the only true faith by virtue of you having invested in it. So like once you're all in on faith and you've invested yourself religiously, then it's appropriate to treat all of the other religions as false because you've already made the leap of faith.
Sure.
So I think there's something kind of irreversible about faith. I don't know exactly what that is, or I don't have like a developed theory of it, but that's partially how, because like Jacob, you know, who's very educated and very thoughtful and articulate guy will, you know, could take me to school on how like Orthodox Christianity is like more legit than Roman Catholic Christianity. And he can make historical arguments about how like, you know, oh, it's really Rome that was the deviant from the true Church of Christ or whatever. And since I'm not like super schooled up on this history, if I'm talking with an Orthodox person who's educated, I have to just kind of be like, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? So that's just the honest truth. I don't really know, but I feel like if I had that kind of rational attitude, I wouldn't be Christian in the first place. So that's where I don't know how to solve that. What else we got?
Awesome. Okay, so we have another super chat from Smash the State 1984. $2. Thank you, Smash the State. Really appreciate it. Any advice for talking to a fundamentalist parent?
I don't have fundamentalist parents, so I guess my advice should be taken with a grain of salt. But I've always been of the opinion when it comes to parents that when you're young, you tell them whatever they need to hear so they lay off your case. And then when you're older, you try to be successful enough in life that you can tell them you can tell them like exactly what you think and feel. And then as you get older, then you start to tell them whatever they want to hear again, just because you want to make them happy. That's my mental model of the life cycle of how to manage parents. So to say it again, when you're young and they have complete power over you, just tell them whatever they want to hear so they lay off your case. Then when you come of age and you really, know yourself as an adult and you know your deepest convictions, because it depends on what age you are. If you're young, maybe you think something right now that your parents don't like, and you feel it's really important that you assert yourself against your parents, and you're like 17 or something like that. Well, you might not think that thing in 10 years, 20 years. Maybe your mind will change. So it's not really worth going to war with your parents over something that maybe you won't even think 10 years later. So when you're young, don't worry about don't worry about your parents' philosophies or politics. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. Just be nice to them, respect them, and tell them whatever you need to tell them so they lay off your case and you can be free and relaxed and do your own thing secretly, more or less, That's how I was anyway. And it worked out pretty well. But then there is a point when you come of age where to really feel like a true adult, sometimes you do need to tell your parents one or two or three things that you never really could tell them as a child. And to really feel like you have a good, true relationship with them, you need them to know it and you need them to accept it. That's a thing that people come to in their life. So when you reach that point, my advice there is just, you have to be independent and responsible enough that you need to have your own paycheck. You need to have a minimal basic success as an adult. I'm not saying super successful, but if you want to tell your parents something that you disagree with them about, and you want to keep your chin up high and you want to say, Mom, Dad, I think fundamentalist religion is bad, but I love you and I respect you. You need to have the material and economic basis of your life sorted such that you can stand on your own 2 feet on your own ground, because maybe they won't like it. Maybe they're going to try to fight you. Maybe they're going to make, conflict with you, and you need to be able to handle that. And if you don't have true economic independence of a basic kind, then you're not really going to be able to assert yourself. But so once you come of age and you have basic economic independence, you should tell your parents those 3 or 4 things that you really need to tell them to respect them and to have a true adult relationship with them. But then once you get that off your chest and you've come of age, then as your parents get older, honestly, they become more and more confused about everything. And your political opinions and their political opinions don't matter that much, because they become, boomers, and they're going to have ridiculous opinions about technology or this or that. And you just say, oh yeah, I hear you, Mom. Or yeah, Dad, I know what you mean. I agree. Yeah, I get that. Because at the end, as your parents get older, you just want them to be happy. You just want to love them. Your job is just to be sweet, to give them happiness and calmness and love them unconditionally. And at that point, it doesn't really care. It doesn't really matter what your parents believe. And you should just be nice to them and affirm whatever they believe. Don't lie, obviously, but just be kind and skip over anything you disagree with, because it doesn't matter. That's my theory of parents.
Well said.
What else we got?
Cute Numina giving $4.99. Thank you so much. That's
big spender on this channel.
Yeah, that's great.
Sheesh.
Can you riff on the importance blockchain has on Christianity?
Ooh, I don't think the blockchain has much importance on Christianity, because if Christianity is true, and it's been true for all time and will be true for all time, and is not contingent on any, earthly innovations. But as we've talked about on this podcast a few times, there are some profound let's call them elective affinities between Christianity and the blockchain. There are some surprising thematic overlaps and consistencies that are really quite stunning when you start looking at them. So I do think that in a certain way, as the blockchain becomes a more ubiquitous feature of modern life and social organization, I could see it actually pushing certain people closer to Christianity. Because I think the way you watch blockchain come together, it is a kind of miracle. I mean, it is so profound that I could see the blockchain being a kind of religious catalyst for a certain kind of religiously inclined, technologically sophisticated person. Because a lot of the people I know who are the smartest people are both really advanced on technology. They're super into tech and innovation and engineering, and they're really smart on all of that. And they're secular or atheistic, but really only because they see religion as this kind of outdated, dumb thing. But they feel like a big hole in their heart. They feel a big gap in their life. And I think given the profound commonalities between blockchain and Christianity, I think this type of person might be able to, in the blockchain, see a kind of technical instantiation of the truth of religion. In particular, the kind of social and bootstrapped nature of religion. Like religions are these kind of cybernetic phenomena, and in a way that blockchains are also. So that's just one of many commonalities, but I could see something like that. I could see blockchain inspired religious conversions. What else?
Cool. All right. Got some interesting riffs.
Oh man, I have this massive hole in my. I knew that where is it? Oh no. Shit, I have it in both armpits. Yeah. Fuck, man. This is a nice wool. This is a nice wool cardigan, and I fucking destroy everything that I own. I knew that I had small ones in the armpits, but I didn't know they were that big. God damn it.
That looks great. I like the style. Holes in vogue.
Dude, I'm pretty pleased with the number of viewers on this.
54.
It's like above average for me. So this is cool that people. Because I could do this all night. I find this fun.
Man, look at that. Thank you, Smash the State 1984. Just $5. No message.
Just being cool. Thank you, Smash the
John
State.
Cage.
All right.
Let's see. What else we got?
All right, everyone.
Smash that.
This is a final opportunity to get some questions in. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. So otherwise, I think we're going to look to wrap this up, but you can squeeze in a final question if you want to. And while you're here, subscribe to the channel, click the bell. Make sure you get notifications because I do these live streams and you don't want to miss it. You want to get that sweet, sweet notification in your pocket so you know when I'm going live. You can jump on, hang out with us. You want to be able to say that you knew Justin before he was cool. You knew Justin when he had 10,000 subscribers. We only have 10,000 subscribers. Oh, yeah. Ben, check right now the subscriber count.
Okay.
Maybe we're going to get to 10,000 subscribers very soon, folks. Very, very soon. So help us get there. Subscribe to the channel. But no, you had it on the dashboard. There you go.
Oh, I did. I was just refreshing it.
Yes, we are currently at 9,939.
Cool.
So only about 60 more to go. Wow. So yeah.
We have one more super chat.
All right, what do we got?
Okay, Michael, what's your best framing of Christianity that you think could get atheist buy-in?
Whoa. What's up, Michael? Thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Let's see. The best framing of Christianity that gets atheist buy-in. Well, I think that there are a handful of very good rational arguments for Christianity that are still not popular enough. And I think this would be the answer to the question. So I think William James is one of the best authors on this because William James is, well-trained in a kind of modern scientific spirit, more or less was a modern scientific psychologist in the early days, of course, but in the early 20th century, late 19th century. And I think he makes some of the best arguments. So for instance, a book I have, which I'm a big fan of, let me see if I have it right here. Yeah. I'm a big fan of this book. It's called The Will to Believe. It's basically a collection of essays and they're more popular essays and speeches and lectures that William James gave. And he makes a lot of really good arguments in this book that I think appeal very compellingly to atheists because he's basically, I'll give you an example. One just like that comes off the top of my head. I haven't read this in many weeks or months, but one good argument is that what if the relationship to God is a relationship that you can only have if you believe in God? And he makes the amazing point that this is actually true with people. I love this point. This is something that really stuck out from this book. He says, basically, if you meet a new person, right? And you assume in your mind, this person doesn't like me. This person's never going to like me, right? Then you're never going to become friends with that person because of assumptions you're making about that other person. If you think that person doesn't like you, you're going to act in a way that's standoffish. You're going to, avoid them, whatever. Or you're just going to act towards them in a way that is lame. And, you're never going to become friends with that person because you believe you're never going to become friends with that person, basically. And if we know that this type of phenomenon happens on Earth in our everyday life all of the time, like there are many other examples you can cite. He just uses this one example of meeting a new person and potentially becoming friends with them. If you don't believe you're going to become friends with them, you're definitely not going to become friends with them. So if we know that this happens in the world, and any rational, scientific, atheist person can admit that this is a fact. We see this type of structure or process in the earthly world. Why would it not also apply to God? I think that's very compelling, right? And so in other words, if you don't believe in God, then you're probably never going to know God, right? It just makes sense. So if you do believe in God, then maybe you can. I think that's pretty damn compelling, honestly, because it actually applies equally well to actual relationships we have in front of us in the world. That's just one example. But yeah, this book is filled with a bunch of others too. Anything else?
No money questions. But,
all right. Well, unless there's one that's really good to you that you really are interested in. We've done an hour and a half now, almost. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Have you read David Foster Wallace? He had some very interesting thoughts on religion and Christianity from an agnostic perspective.
Yeah, I read a book of his short essays. I forget what it was called. And it was a collection of, I think, some fiction and some essays. I forgot the title of it. And like many people, I started Infinite Jest when I was a young, angsty man and never finished it. But no, I didn't love it, honestly. I didn't love it. I no disrespect to David Foster Wallace, and I think he was a very smart guy for sure, and interesting life and interesting project. But I don't know how to put this delicately. He was a depressed person, and that doesn't in any way invalidate someone's work. But I guess I personally have a personal taste where I could kind of sense his depressiveness.
You're a bloomer.
I'm a bloomer. Yeah. I could sense his depressiveness, and it kind of turned me off, personally. I'm very scared of depression. I've had one bout of depression in my life, like proper depression. And it was the worst thing I've ever known. One of the scariest things I've ever known. And I'm a little afraid of the contagiousness of depression. And so this is no disrespect to people who suffer from depression. But I just think we should be alert to the sometimes contagious nature of it. And so when there's like a writer or an author or a figure who is depressed, or I feel is deeply expressing a kind of depressive worldview, I do sometimes conscientiously make the decision to not immerse myself in that person's work. I think that kind of
Schopenhauer.
Or
Buddhism.
Yeah, I've never read a ton of Schopenhauer. A little bit when I read it in my younger years when I was obsessed with Nietzsche. Definitely read a little bit of Schopenhauer, but yeah, I never got into him too much. Probably for the same reason, perhaps. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else? I think I'm probably done unless there are super chats.
Yeah, no more super chats.
I'm kind of fried, but folks, thank you for coming out. Thank you for hanging out. This was fun.
Yeah, that was lit.
Those were some really interesting questions. In fact, I almost feel like we should. I think we might do this more because I kind of appreciate the challenge. I appreciate the challenge of totally unpredictable and challenging questions. And looking back on the past hour, I don't feel that I performed as well as I could have. I actually wasn't prepared for so many good questions.
Yeah, these are great.
But the fact that people are actually throwing super chats, and that means Ben is able to buy his tacos tonight, makes me actually inspired to want to do this more. And I think next time, I think we will do this again. And next time I'm going to show up in my prime. I'm going to show up more relaxed, more focused, and more really ready to go. I had a long day today, so I'm a little below par. But next time, let's do this, and I'll take some more of these questions, and I'll try to really impress you with better answers. I think
we just got 2 more.
Oh,
$5 a pop.
Excellent. Anything for Ben's taco money.
All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the first one.
Yes.
Smash the State, 1984. Again, thank you so much. My dad says I shouldn't have had my daughter because we're in the end times.
Oof.
That was just, I think, a comment.
Well, I think that's a crazy thing to say to your son, that they shouldn't have a daughter because it's end times. I think that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry your father said that to you. But from my perspective, I don't see why the end times would be a bad time to have kids. Like if we're really living in end times, all that really means is that, good people will go to heaven, bad people will go to hell, everyone will meet their maker. And I don't see that as being a reason why people shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, here's Cute Numina again. Thank you again for the $4.99. Seriously. Okay, thoughts on Mark Fisher, please, not the same as last time.
Well, I don't remember what my thoughts on Mark Fisher were last time. I like Mark Fisher. I was friends with him. I admired him a lot and respected him a lot, and always enjoyed hanging out with him. And in the kind of left-wing political groups that I was active in England, he was one of my favorite people for sure. So yeah, I really like that guy. I don't want to use we were friends for sure, and we hung out a couple times. Like we met up for coffee a couple times. And then of course I was active with him in a bunch of groups and organizations and meetings and stuff like that. So we spent a fair amount of time around each other. I only hung out with him like one-on-one a couple times, but so I don't want to like overhype. Oh, I was best friends with Mark Fisher. No, we weren't best friends, but we were friends, and we were comrades actively in organization. And he was one of my favorite people for sure. He was very supportive of me, and trying to think, I have a hard time talking about the recently deceased. I think you gotta let more time pass before you say too much. I have some thoughts about his work, and then some thoughts about his life, and some observations about, our interactions, all of which were good. Honestly, like I have nothing but good things to say about him and my own personal experiences with him. Like, I don't think I've told many people this, but I had a book manuscript that I wrote when I was a professor, and I was sending it off to presses for review. I was trying to get a book published, basically. And I struck out a bunch of times. Like I sent it to places like Verso or whatever, struck out, whatever. And this was the time when he was just starting up Repeater with, what's the guy's name? Goddard, which was, I think, the original founder of Zero Books. And Mark Fisher, good man that he was. No, see, there's a lot of like clout chasing around Mark, and I just don't want to do it. So I'm just going to punt on this. Basically, he was supportive of me. He was always very supportive of me. And, I'm very grateful for that. I got nothing but good things to say about Mark. I have a few kind of little stories. Maybe I'll tell you later when more time has passed. But there's like a little cottage industry of like people who are kind of building brands on Mark Fisher, and I'm not throwing shade on anyone else. I don't think anyone has any, whatever. I'm not trying to get into any fights about it, but I feel a little gross telling like personal stories about Mark and interesting like little anecdotes, just because I feel like it's too soon after his death. I don't want anyone to think I'm like, yeah, I just want to let that be. But thanks for asking. He was cool. Awesome dude. Awesome dude.
All right. Well,
anything else?
No money ones.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. Subscribe to the channel. Click the bell. We are going to try to grow this channel to the best of our ability. And Ben only has 3 months left before he's graduated from university, at which point I want to be able to pay him
$5,000.
But we did good with the super chats tonight, folks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All the super chats go directly to Ben. I mean that. And probably made what, like $50 or something? Somewhere around there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, folks. Thanks for the good questions. I want to do this again. This was fun. I like taking random questions.
Yeah,
I like the challenge because
awesome.
it is sometimes quite challenging. But all right.
Sweet.
Thanks, everybody. Take it easy.
God bless.
Later.